And welcome back to Dark Souls 3 with myself, Hollow. It is finally time for the final alt ending. I apologize there's been such a gap, but with the other two characters, they were kind of leveled up. And with this character, Frost, I'm currently having to play through the entire game pretty much from almost the beginning. So it's quite the process, quite a thing to do while I'm also doing the challenge run, and it was just a lot to take on with limited time. So I apologize for that gap. But nonetheless, we are here in Firelink Shrine on Frost, a character that you did see in the original blind playthrough, and she will look a little bit different as we play through. But we have 3 main objectives to complete before we do the final alt ending. First objective is series side questline or storyline that we missed originally. We have this lovely lad that we had to kill last time and his oh so lovely cleric, the failed firekeeper. We'll see her positive storyline and hopefully whatever follows with that, because obviously he attacks us with a negative one when we corrupt her. He tries to steal her away and save her, and hopefully we'll see obviously a different storyline, maybe more from him, new dialogue when we do the good thing. And also, finally, we'll also be dealing with a certain NPC by the name of Yuria. It is about goddamn time we did this. We're gonna kill her and see what it is that everyone's going so crazy about seeing. What she says when she dies should be quite interesting. Basically, here we go.
Where are thy wits?
Oh, look at that. Check out what she's holding. She uses a katana that, whoa! She uses a katana that's like see-through. That's weird. And she does use the Dark Hand, which doesn't surprise us. Now, we do think she's a Dark Wraith, bear in mind. Like a new age version of Dark Wraiths. But we do see male Dark Wraiths from the original game, Dark Souls 1. So, I'm wondering if it'll be like a transformation into like a Dark Wraith form.
Yule knows not of thy folly. A Hollow need not be mad. No one so weak shall ever rule us.
Well, there you go. She claims that Yol, the guy who helped us originally, didn't realize that we were not worthy, and because we would not like follow through on what she tells us to do, she considers us too weak to rule them. Which is, I don't know, it sounds like complete bullshit to me. It just sounds like, oh, you're not gonna help me. Well, then you suck and you're not the rightful lord, so fuck you. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a very good. Whoa. It doesn't seem like a viable train of thought to me. Anyway, here we go. There you go. Yep, it's a short dialogue, but I know why everyone's going mental about it. Karth. So we get her ashes as we kill her. It's super interesting that she says Karth. Karth is the primordial serpent behind Dark Wraiths. There's a lot of interesting information out there about it, and you should definitely learn it. But super fast version is there's 2 primordial serpents. There's a lot more than that, but there's 2 main ones. There's Frampt, the Kingseeker, and Karth, the, I can't remember what his name is, like Darkseeker or something like that. But he's the man behind Dark Wraiths, the serpent behind Dark Wraiths. He convinces the kings and queens of Ulissul, an old civilization you've seen and heard about in this game, to ultimately bring on the Abyss, make them very powerful, but also corrupt them, and bring on an Age of Dark. His goal is to bring on the Age of Dark. So he makes Dark Wraiths, he makes these 4 kings and this horrible like lineage to try and make the world be consumed by darkness. And that was a long time ago. And at this point, we do know that the dark ending ultimately fails. Like, you may bring on a world of darkness for thousands of years, but eventually, as we heard in the cinematic by the Firekeeper, fires will flicker, embers will flicker, and eventually light will return, and the cycle will return, and fire will be back in the world. And so his objective ultimately fails in the long run. So he must have realized that and said, hang on, it's not working. What am I going to do now? Let's make this Yuria chick, this new form of Dark Wraith that we just killed, and her sister that apparently exists. But what are they trying to do? We still don't really know. We saw the ending. Become Lord of Hollows. The world turns like a silvery light. Instead of dark, it turns silvery to get rid of fire but not dark. So there's like a new objective, and he must have realized that. Oh, Dark Drift. There you go. So we got her ashes, we got Dark Drift. Umbral Ash of Yuria of Londor. Having 3 founders of the Black Church ensured Yuria's legacy would survive. Her 2 sisters could carry the torch, making certain their lord claims the flame. For the sake of all hollows. Well, there you go. There's not 1 sister, there's 3. 3 sisters employed by Karth. And her faction, her group, is not the Dark Wraiths, but the Black Church. What I think's going to happen is there's going to be a DLC in the near future that will focus on Londor. We think Londor, at least I do, is some sort of Dark Souls 3 in the future version of New Londo, where the Four Kings is, where the Abyss is, where that whole thing is in Dark Souls 1, but now in Dark Souls 3, like way in the future. So maybe we'll go back to New Londo, or we'll see some history there, but I think a DLC will be based around the 2 other sisters of Yuria and Karth, the Primordial Serpent. I hope we see more of the serpents in Dark Souls 3. It would be cool to see how they make them look in this game. And we have actually seen Primordial Serpents as statues on the bridge where you fight the Dragon Slayer armor. So we know they exist in this world, referenced by Yuria, referenced here, and of course in the statues. So hopefully in the DLC we get to see this Londor. Also, we have Dark Drift, a cursed sword with an unseen blade, a choice weapon of Yuria of Londor. It did look cool. Yuria, a mentor of the Sable Church, an accomplished swordsman, is said to have claimed 100 lives with this weapon. The skill is aim carefully and pierce with a large forward lunge. The unseen blade penetrates straight through shields. Nothing can defend from Dark Drift. Looks so cool. So apparently it's, like many weapons we've seen in this game, able to get around shields, but more directly. Yeah, we've seen this effect a lot. Mail breaker type of effect. Pretty cool though. So the reason our lovely knight here is actually here right now is that dialogue that happens when he shows up and he says, hey, I appreciate you sort of saving her from herself, and also this place is perfect for her. It's just the type of people she'd be happy to be around. And he says it in this way that's so scathing and like negative, but you can see the hints of appreciation and how he actually likes her and he wants her to be happy, and he's glad to see she's in this situation now. And as we saw when we corrupted her, he was so angry, he tried to steal her and ultimately save her from me, and tried to kill me as well. Now with the positive ending, we will hopefully see a different result. So let's buy some positive miracles, shall we? And never touch the negative ones.
Oh, Champion of Ash. Welcome back. Do you wish to hear a tale? You only have to ask.
I'm gonna much prefer this storyline, I can already tell. Okay, so we just managed to buy literally every positive miracle she has. Now, I will go out into the world and try my best to collect as many books and, you know, basically more tomes that will teach us more miracles and positive ones at that, and keep her away from the negative ones.
Hello again. I have since heard a great deal about you. For one, that you are most gentle of heart. I too am bound by duty, but can offer you my sign. I hear that cordial intrusion lays the path to embers. If I can be of help, by all means, do call upon me. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
And there you go. Revealing the Dark Moon Covenant. But she's apparently not part of it. If you do remember Yorshka, she does actually say that she's captain of the Dark Moons and that there are no members anymore. And yet, we find her seemingly following the Dark Moons' faith and their ways, and of course teaching us their gesture that she will obviously use. So in my opinion, it's that she's searching for Yorshka to maybe proclaim herself to her, but along the way something happens, and we're going to see that today. So once you get this far in series questline or storyline, you actually find yourself able to not summon her, but new mechanic, be summoned to her world, which is very interesting, very cool. And it seems like she's being pursued by someone, and it's a lovely old face, Crichton. He himself is still alive somehow, even after the events of Dark Souls 2, and is hunting players still. Now, this actually makes me think that Kratom was the bad guy originally in Dark Souls 2. It's like a really, I don't know, hard decision to make whether you help Kratom or help another guy. They both seem good and bad, and they both tell you different stories that conflict. But based on seeing him being an invader in this game, I think he was the bad guy in Dark Souls 2 between those two NPCs. Anyway, you find him, he's attacking Cirrus, you defend her, she's grateful.
Thank you for your kind assistance. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
And then once you defeat him here, he will actually invade you in another spot, just a bit further in the Burial Valley, just near this tombstone, gravestone, where you get this bone shard. And then, of course, once you kill him, you get his weapon. And also, his armor set will then appear on the bridge where he originally invades Ceres' world. And you can get his armor set via that.
I have not thanked you for your generous rescue. That dark spirit was one of Rosaria's fingers, vile bastard offspring who lurk in the darkness. My sworn enemies. Fearsome invaders, to say the least. I would not have made it alone. You have my deepest gratitude. If you require help on your travels, I offer you my sign. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
To continue her story, at this point you need to defeat the boss of Analondo and also the great tree of the undead settlement. Once you've done that, her sign appears, you get summoned to her world, and you're sent down into the Pit of Hollows, in which she says this.
I finally found you. Just as I promised, Grandad. Remember?
So it turns out Hodrick was actually her granddad. You know, I didn't see that coming. It just seems kind of random, but there you go. A bit of NPC flavor there. Two characters, storylines sort of intertwining. Was not expecting that, but it's pretty cool. It's quite a tough fight. He does a lot of damage to both you and Ceres, and she can die very quickly, so it's good that she has heals. But once you do defeat him, he actually drops a vertebra shackle, so this is another way to join the faction if you fucked it up by accidentally defeating the boss before speaking to him. That's how you can join the purples if you accidentally kill Hodrick before that point.
Good night, Grandad. Oh, there you are. I'm afraid I've involved you in my affairs over a little promise at that. My sincerest thanks for your assistance. At last, my grandfather will rest in peace, and I can die. But there is one last. May I take a vow to serve you as a knight?
Interesting to note that if you decline here and say, no, you're not going to be my knight, she goes mad and shows up in the Pit of Hollows, just like her grandfather, a mad invading spirit. It's super kind of cool that they did that. For now, I'm going to accept her because we want to continue her storyline.
Oh, I am most grateful. I, Cirrus, do hereby serve as your faithful knight. Wherever, whenever I am needed. My loyalty shall never waver. Blessing of the moon upon your journey. If I may ever be of assistance, I am your knight forever and true. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
Now do note that somewhere during this storyline, this vendor, the handmaiden, she actually begins selling a budding green blossom that has a note strapped around the bottom, like the roots of it, that does in fact say, the brief attached message suggests that it was a gift. Goodbye, dear grandmother. I will visit grandfather in the Pit of Hollows. How did the handmaiden get this? I believe it was from the dust or ashes that you get in the Farron Swamp area, the Dream Chasers one. And she says that they're a fool. Could it be that those ashes were the grandmother's? Or could it be that it was Ceres' ashes? But that doesn't make sense because Ceres is alive. You could take that in different ways. Okay, finally, just outside of the Firelink Shrine, there is a gravestone that has an item appear at this point. It's actually the grave that I believe was dedicated to the grandfather of Ceres. She set this up and she leaves the shield here to commemorate her grandfather. And on the shield it says, Shield of the Holy Knights of the Sunless Realms, engraved with a brilliant flame crest that burns brightly within the Order's customary sunset colours. This design symbolizes those who both harbor and oppose the power of flame. Okay, so kind of interestingly, this faction that her and her grandfather are part of have a good and bad sort of side to them. It's obvious that the grandfather fell to dark and the granddaughter is trying to avoid doing that herself, but can fall to dark and can become a purple if you decline her offer to become your knight. So here we are now in front of the Dragon Slayer armor boss fight, and we have 2 summon signs for NPCs. First is Aegon of Kareem. He's going to help us because we've been helping his priestess. His story is fairly simple, apparently. You actually see a lot more when you do the negative thing and when you harm the one he protects. And then we also have a series of the Sunless Realms. She's going to help us sort of fight a bunch of bosses, and we're going to need to take her in so that we can complete her story as well. So in this situation, I kind of need to knock both out at the same time, which means the boss has more health, and I don't know how valuable either of them are. Having seen how Ceres works in a fight with Hodrick, I'm not too faithful that she's going to be too useful. Whereas Aegon, he might be. He's got Wrath of the Gods, but I just need them to tank and have the health for it, really. It's going well so far. Doing quite a bit of damage. Shocking amount, really. But now this is the part where they start taking a bit of damage and we don't chain stun so much. But they do have heals. Look, Ceres does have a heal, which could help Aegon out a little bit. It didn't go... Oh, God. It didn't go poorly at all. Did a lot more damage than expected. Wrath of the Gods did about as much damage as my attack, but it worked. It worked. Alright, mate, he's dead. He's dead. Relax. And unfortunately, that's actually it for Aegon's storyline. Eventually, I do find him here in the original spot that you encounter him and his priestess, his cleric, in. And the door is obviously open, and he sort of like falls down on the portal between that gap where the door is unlocked and just rests and dies right here. I don't know what sort of makes him die here. Maybe my guess is that because there is now a new protector for her and I'm doing better than he was, I'm making her happy, I'm making her safe, and she's progressing towards her dream. He isn't really necessary anymore, and he does actually help us. Maybe because he wants to feel useful, but when he realizes I can do it without him, maybe he just gives up and dies right here, which is sad, but another way to get his weapon and his shield without actually fighting him.
Oh, Champion of Ash, welcome back. Do you wish to hear a tale? You only have to ask. Oh, you've brought me a Braille Divine Tome. Now I can tell new tales of miracles. Tales of the greater miracles can be quite the epics. What fun we will have. Thank you ever so much, sweet champion. May your solemn duty conclude in triumph.
So now that I brought 2 of the holy tomes to her, the actual good ones, not the horrible ones that corrupt her, and bought every single holy, faithful spell that she can sell, she disappears from her original spot, and I found her at the very bottom of the tower. You know, we unlocked it via that 20k soul key, and right where all those firekeepers are dead, she's just sat here minding her own business. Her hood is now down, she looks wholly blessed, and you know what, mate?
Oh, sweet champion of Ash, let souls be your strength.
That's right, she's a firekeeper now, and you can actually use her to level up. Her goal to become a firekeeper, she was a failed firekeeper when you met her, you helped her, and she became a full-fledged firekeeper, fully able to level you up and be your firekeeper if you wish. Now, obviously, she's not as relevant to the story as the one you use in the main storylines. She doesn't do all the cool stuff she does, but she totally could now, and that's really cool. A happy ending for her in a way, but also she is just now sort of sat there, sort of surrounded by corpses. A little bit weird, but I mean, this was her dream, right? Okay, so that's that. Doing so well on these storylines, man. We've gone through Urias, thing that we're missing. We've done Egon and the priestess that's now a a firekeeper. I am really happy for her, weirdly. But yeah, we still have Ceres to complete, and her final thing that we need to do is summon her once again to defeat a boss. That is the Princess of Lothric. Once you use her, you summon her in, you defeat the princes, and all that goes well. She just disappears, and you head back to the Firelink Shrine. You head all the way back to where her grandfather's gravestone is, and you actually do find her there, laying, just like Aegon, dead. On her body is the Sunless Talisman, which in fact says, talisman given to the knights of the Sunless Realms, who serve the nameless moon. Scales with intelligence, which is rare for a miracle catalyst, but it makes it compatible with dark. In the Sunless Realms, the fact is related first as an initial warning. There you go. There you go. So they, as a faction, just like we were mentioning earlier, are both of light and dark. They are easily able to use the dark, manipulate the dark to their own use and whatever they want to use it for, but they must fight it and they must not fall to darkness, and some of them, as we've seen, can, will, and do. However, in the storyline that we went with, Ceres did not. She completed her mission, got rid of her dark grandfather, and now she has also, for some reason, died. I don't know, why can no one have a happy ending? Even this happiest of happiest endings for Ceres still results in you just finding yet another friend's corpse outside of Firelink Shrine. I swear to God, make it end. And there you have it. All of the NPC storylines that I've missed. And there is actually a couple left. The full story of Horus and Anri, for example, I've not fully discovered, but the majority of all of these NPC storylines have now been complete, and I am very proud and happy to have said that and achieved that. Honestly, all of the NPCs on my left and right are done. I guess there might be more to the blacksmith that I don't know about, but I think that's it. Anyway, I do think that the storylines that we went over today were very interesting, and now that I've seen the majority of the NPC storylines, I can easily and happily say I'm really impressed. I'm really happy with the storylines of these NPCs and where they go and what they mean. I mean, there's still more to think about and discover, I'm sure, as to the endings and maybe which characters link together. Like, that's one of my favorite things. Why I'm so impressed is in Dark Souls 1, the storylines between characters sure did link up occasionally, rarely, but the main thing to think about was always the fact that they were just interesting, good stories and interesting characters. In Bloodborne, they were interesting stories and they were good stories. The issue was they were a little bit too short, let's say. And in Dark Souls 2, there was a couple of cool NPCs, but mostly it was just alright. Whereas 3, it feels up to that standard of Dark Souls 1, up to that standard of even Bloodborne, but more fleshed out, filled out, good stories. But on top of that all, and what I'm most impressed by, is the fact that they link up. These characters that you learn about and you see and you find different things about them and you find it interesting, whatever, they have good stories. But they are actually intertwined. They all fit into this world as if they've met each other. They have their histories, their futures, and they connect to each other in different ways. And I'm very impressed because it makes this world feel even more real.
The 5 lords sit their 5 thrones. All thanks to thee, most worthy of lords. Ashen One, with the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee afore the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lords' embers acknowledge thee as their true heir. Farewell, Ashen One, noble lords of Cinder. The fire fades. And the lords go without thrones. Surrender your fires to the true heir. Let her grant death. To the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
It feels good to be finally doing this ending, the linking the fire ending. And though it's not necessarily the good ending, sure, it is the happiest seeming ending, the one that you're supposed to do, the one that you're supposed to set out and enjoy. And it's what you did in the original game, in the quote-unquote good ending. And though the cycle continues and this will all happen again, and a different hero will have to take up my mantle and do it all again to keep the fire here and keep the world going. It's good and bad. You know, you continue the suffering of those who suffer. You continue life as grim as it is, but it keeps going. But it's the one where you're supposed to keep the world alive. And I don't know whether there's a good ending. Ultimately, if you think about it, I don't know whether there is a good ending. Objectively, you have this ending where you're going to keep life going, even if it's a horrible life for most of the people who will live and are alive. You got the dark ending where you plunge the world into darkness to stop this cycle and just endure darkness and nothing, because nothing's better than what we have now, apparently. Then you've got the betrayal, the true betrayal, where you take the power for yourself. In complete darkness, you become extremely powerful, but you're still in complete darkness, so bit dumb. Either way, those two endings result in fire coming back and this cycle continuing eventually. It's just like a few thousand years of the worst thing ever. And finally, the fourth alternate ending, the one that I did at the beginning, the Lord of Hollows, where you turn the world into this silvery light and you get loads of power, and then you give that power, or you basically become the Lord of Hollows. And those who suffer and have a horrible life will have a better life, but others who are doing okay, but it's still a shit existence, now suffer. So it's like, not really any of these endings are particularly happy. But at the bright side, I'm going to make a couple people happy doing this. And it's sort of the true ending to the game, in my eyes. Just some really good damage, as you can see. Like, quite a shocking amount I'm doing. And we're already to phase 2, which is delightful. So we'll just pull back, get a heal. Very smooth kill so far. Let's see how I do in phase 2. Oh god, yeah, that's the combo. I completely forgot. Holy shit. It has been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since I fought him. Still love him as much as I did the first time. He's just such a good fight. Is that the combo? No, it's not. Thank God. Whoa! Alright. Already down to under half health. Wow, that was quite a lot of damage. 20%. Let's make it 10%. I just barely didn't get hit. Whoa. Alright. And I get grabbed. I knew I was going to get grabbed there. There was nothing I could do. I was out of stamina. Made the mistake of being greedy. Whoa. Alright. See you next time, pal. You know, I've never worn that armor that he has. Like, sure, I put it on. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've actually transposed or looked at what you can transpose from the soul of that being of Lords. It looks so cool because you compare the visuals here. It's like one flame, a flicker of a flame from one soul, and this is more corrupted because it's from the fire flame that created the demons. Then we have more fire, a powerful one, the twin one. It's two fires together, and then we have this, which is just like hundreds of the most powerful souls in existence rippling around each of it. It looks delightful. Anyway, I need to have a look what you can actually do with that. I'm not sure, but we'll do that after we see this cinematic, shall we? Wow, what? Really? Wow, okay. What the hell? Oh, that's a bit... I see why people don't like that ending as much now. So, you link the flame, you harness the power of the flame, and you share your power with it, and you keep it going. You become the ember to the flame, and you burn away over many years. Like, thousands of years, who knows. A long time. And I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to power that flame. And eventually I'll turn to dust, I guess. Or I'll just turn into the protector of the flame. Maybe that's what was going on. Maybe the thing that you fought there, the final boss, it was actually just the last person to link the flame, who was basically withered away and was about to have no power anymore, about to not be able to keep the fire alive. So someone needed to come defeat him and become the new power of the fire. And then eventually, in the future, I will be in that state, withered, unable to sustain the fire. Next champion comes along, defeats me, does the same thing. Whereas the reason I'm kind of disappointed is I want to see a big explosion, alright? Okay, I wanted to see the big fire explosion like in Dark Souls 1 where you walk up, you link the fire, the whole place goes up in flames, and it's just this huge pillar of fire that ultimately destroys you to create. And then that pillar of fire eventually fades and fades and fades, becomes a normal bonfire, big bonfire, smaller, tiny flame. Someone must kindle it again. Next pillar of flame kind of thing. I was hoping for a big explosion, but it's a cool ending nonetheless, and it's about time we did that. Begin journey 2 in current state. No thank you. So let's actually have a look at what this soul does, shall we? Oh, Sunlight Spear! Holy shit, that's how you get it! I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It's Gwyn's soul and stuff. Miracle of Gwyn, the First Lord, hurls a lightning spear. The tales of Gwyn's archdragon hunts describe the inception of the Age of Fire. That's how it began. Oh, Violent Greatsword. You use the fucking sword that's in the bonfire as a weapon. The Lords of the Cinders linked the first flame, and this greatsword was wielded by their deific manifestation. This coiled sword, found thrust in the bonfire, existed long before the throneless lords themselves. It has a skill Ember. The fading flame momentarily illuminates and launches itself forward. Alright, we're getting that. We have to have a look at that. It requires 10 faith to use on top of 20 strength, 10 intelligence, and 10 dex. It does look nice. It does look very nice. You could get an easy cosplay of that final boss by doing this. Oh, it works like a claymore, solid move set, and then the special. Ah, that's a shame. I don't get to see that because I don't have 10 faith. I think it'll just do like a fire shot probably based on the way that it looks. But it's cool. You're using the weapon right there that's like literally in the bonfire. Like, this is what we pulled out of Gundyr as well, isn't it? Very cool. Very nice looking. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Do let me know if you enjoyed it with a like. I'll be thinking about what to do next in terms of more serious Dark Souls stuff. We still have the challenge run going, and eventually that'll be complete as well. Of course, I do love Dark Souls, and I do love Dark Souls 3, and I still want to do more on the channel, even after these alt endings are done, even after the challenge run is done. But I will take some time to work out what that is. Now, obviously, I intend to do a Lore Bite series on Dark Souls, and I'm still doing the very rare PvP videos. They take a long time to set up and come up with. I already have the next one planned, or at least aware of it, but making those characters, getting 4 people together, it's difficult, but I enjoy doing it. You know, that last one that we did, the Onion Bros Ruler of the Storm video, that was one of the most fun videos I've ever made, and people loved it, so I'm looking forward to doing more of that in the future. We have the DLC of Dark Souls coming up, don't forget. It's been like 2.5 months, maybe even 3 months since Dark Souls 3's release, so we should have an announcement of the first DLC very soon. In my opinion, there will be 3-part DLC, just like there was in Dark Souls 2 because of the way they've done Season Pass, but hopefully they'll be good compared to Dark Souls 2 DLC. Dark Souls 1 DLC was literally my favourite DLC in any game ever, and the Bloodborne DLC was phenomenal. So, high hopes for that, guys. Make sure to look out for my channel when that's released, because I'll certainly be doing tons on that. For now, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, guys. Have a good one.